Welcome back to our mysterious island plagued by dark magic. Today we are going to dive below the upper city and uncover twisting tunnels. First, we're going to build the tunnels, then we'll create a hideout and incorporate the story into our build. So this area is going to be the upper city. Obviously, it's not built yet, but we're going to be focused on the ground underneath this area. Each area of this map has challenges tied to it, and the upper city is going to require you to explore, just like the lower city did. This one is pretty simple, but you'll have to search through the above ground and below ground areas to complete it all. You're going to have to flip 5 sets of levers. These 10 levers are going to be split between the tunnels we are building and the upper city houses and stores. Each lever will line up with a building above ground. We'll get into it a little bit more later in this video and in the video where we actually build the city. This may be weird, but something I've always wanted to do is build a sewer system under a city in Minecraft so that you could sneak around. So a couple months ago, I sent out a community post asking if anyone had any trap or puzzle ideas they really liked and that could be fun to add into this map. The Froggy100 said it would be cool to have catacombs running underground. So taking inspiration from that, we're going to put in a sort of underground sewer system. So first, let's clear some space for this tunnel. I don't want the space to feel too claustrophobic, but it's also not supposed to be a vast cavern. So I thought this size would fit nicely. And then we'll have a little space for you to walk. Something we've been doing so far in each of these builds is creating 2 versions. The more black and white, less saturated color scheme to represent how the dark magic has taken life out of the area, and a warmer themed scheme after you complete the area's challenge and revitalize the area. For this build, I at first didn't have any block that would change. It didn't seem like a place that would have had really been drained of magic. However, I thought there should at least be some element that changed with it. So we have these little columns that I added in. Plus, it just makes the wall a whole lot more interesting to look at. Then I decided to leave the walls as it was for now and continue building out the tunnels. However, as I worked in the area more, I added in a couple more elements just to make it more interesting. So far, we've already learned about the dark magic users on the island and a little bit about their journey of trying to save the land from the drought and how it went very wrong. So in this episode, we're going to learn a little bit more about the people it affected and how they responded. So to help us tell that story, we need a hideout. So I've got it started. I thought it would be nice to lay down some boards above the water because they wouldn't want to hang out with their feet wet. That'd be weird. So that's what these planks represent, a sort of hodgepodge of wooden boards creating an uneven and incomplete surface. Because I want it to look like they just kind of patched things together for their meeting place. However, I can't really put much on top of it because the slabs are on the lower, side of the block. So, but I like my idea too much to get rid of it. So the hideout was created for necessity only. So I want it to feel like the people running this sort of rebellion against the High Mage brought down only what they needed and they just kind of stuffed it into a corner. So this place isn't where they slept or stayed for long periods of time. It was just a meeting place. So we can add a few practical things and keep it a little bit boring. It's not supposed to feel cozy. And I think, and hopefully you'll agree, that it would be better and might add a bit more visual interest if we block off the water by the hideout. I think it's something they would do, especially since, as you have probably noticed, the tunnel doesn't go anywhere. It's purely aesthetic and for your exploration. So if they block it off, I guess it really doesn't make much of a difference. So just, suspension of disbelief. And then this way, we can add in a little meeting table to the area because I think that will be the most important part of their meetings down here. And then we just have a few other little elements that they might use for their meetings or kind of store things. But otherwise, we're not going to put out any decorations because, like I said, it's just for a practical meeting space where nobody's going to be able to listen in on them. So as I get closer to finishing this island, are there any essential elements to an adventure story that you love? Maybe your favorite tropes or obstacles? I really love group dynamics. I don't want just one chosen one hero going around. I love a group effort. So in this video, we're uncovering a little bit more of the interaction between our fallen hero and the village people. We're going to call these secret messages, and they have been passed back and forth between the fallen hero and the townsfolk. All right, did you guys notice that I added in water droplets? I thought this would be a great little atmospheric detail, and I love it so much. It's not everywhere. I didn't want it to be too overwhelming, but it just adds a little bit of movement and it helps things feel more alive, which is ironic, I guess, because the whole point is that it's dead and empty currently. But still, you know, when you're building in Minecraft, you're trying to make it feel more dynamic a lot of the times. But first, a quick little detour. I had an idea. Look at this. It makes our tunnel a little bit more interesting, which I think it needed considering there's not too much else going on down here. I did try using a smattering of other blocks like cobblestone and mixing that in with the bricks, but I didn't like the look of it. So we're keeping the stone bricks and only the stone bricks, but adding variation by using the walls for some change in, I don't know, depth and shape. So I think that looks a lot better, and I'm really starting to like the whole feel of it down here. Okay, I'm a little bit more distracted. We'll get to the story part soon, but I also think it would be fun to add in these inaccessible areas. This way it creates a space that feels a lot bigger, and it makes it feel like the world goes on beyond the parts that you have access to. And we can add in an exit point for the water, a drain that can feature as part of the city, the upper city. Plus, it will help prompt you to explore, because hopefully you'll come see this drain area and you'll say, ooh, tunnels, I wonder how you get in there. And then that'll help you find that part of the story. So our first note in our secret messages is going to be from the fallen hero. It reads, "We need to find a place to meet. The corruption of our land cannot be allowed to continue. If the king can't stop it, then we must find a way to discover the source. I am scouting locations for a suitable meeting place, as if the drought wasn't bad enough. F. Hero." So I wanted a way for you to know that it was from the fallen hero, and he doesn't have a name. And I was... so I hope that this, you know, if you're reading it, makes enough sense and you can connect the dots. And then what I'll do is I'll add the F. Hero, weird spelling, to a couple of the other messages and notes around the world, so hopefully it'll be good. Okay, then the next one. "The king has left. Many of our friends have left too. It's almost not worth bothering with our meeting location. What's the point of secrecy if there's no one you need to keep it from? However, I have noticed that the mage's tower continues to light up every night. I think we should begin planning our siege of the tower soon. F. Hero, please meet us tonight. Same place, underground. Emmerich has a plan to take back the city. The city is overrun. I have left for the southern tower. I've seen many taking their boats and leaving the island. If you're reading this, you should leave too. F. Hero." So with these secret notes, I want you as the adventurer to get a sense for how the villagers were feeling. Right, the lower city, the note talk a little bit more about the start of the dark magic, how the dark magic was helping at first and the effects of the drought. But now up here, you'll see a little bit more like later chronologically how people are finally starting to realize this is not a good thing. Now, our fallen hero was posted at the guard tower on the far side of the island, so kind of through this point is also when he's noticing things happening over in the ruins and with all of that. So hopefully it'll all kind of work together to piece together a story. Here's a spectator view of the tunnels, so you can get a bit of an overview and see how it spreads out and extends through a pretty good amount of the city. Then when I do eventually build the city on top, the buildings will coordinate with the levers in the tunnel, which will be the trigger to heal this section of the map and open the gate for the castle. So I might need to go back, like I said, and add in the fallen hero name into a couple other notes or the lecterns, just so it's a little bit more cohesive. I think this will be a good nod to our fallen hero without needing to give him a different name and just confuse things. Our hero never gets the chance to storm the mage's tower or take back the city, which is why the mage's tower is still, as I was going to call it, pristine. But since it doesn't look damaged, this is why, because he never makes it there. Instead, they are overtaken by our dark mages, who have become twisted by their evil magic, which will be the monsters that will be roaming around the land. And you'll also have to fight these monsters when you come through, but hopefully by that point you'll have gathered enough armor. We are approaching the end section of the story. We still have a couple areas left to do, the docks, the castle, and I want at least one sort of side story off on an island that I have built or will build, and maybe we'll have a descendant of a villager living and looking out for a time when the island has recovered and is safe for everybody to come home. But we'll see. We'll get there in the future. If you haven't seen the rest of the videos in the series, make sure to check those out. That way you can get all the story parts. Thanks for watching. Bye!